46 faces of COVID. These are the photos of victims around the state that you submitted to us here at CBS 46, people who died from COVID-19. Well, tomorrow marks 2 years since the first COVID-19 death was reported here in Georgia. CBS 46's Crystal Bowie sits down with a family whose loss happened the month after the pandemic began.
Oh yeah, I love that one.
Jessie Danville describes her mom as radiant.
That's her right there.
Inside and out.
My mom was so incredibly beautiful, like beautiful, out of this world beautiful.
She says Barbara Land led by example.
She used to tell me the most important thing to be is kind to everybody. Kind to people who are mean to you, kind to people who are nice to you, kind to the person sitting alone at the lunch table, be kind to everyone.
Born on Valentine's Day, Land was 68 years old and among the first set of deaths early on in the pandemic.
By the time she got to the hospital, they said that there was no point in ventilating her, that her pulse ox was so low that she needed to just go somewhere and be comfortable and die.
In April of 2020, the virus was so new, essential workers didn't know how contagious COVID-19 would be. Like many, Danville and her family were not allowed inside the hospital to say goodbye.
I was asking my dad, can you get one of the nurses to FaceTime her, to just, even if she's unconscious, I just want to talk to her. And they wouldn't do any of that.
Danville still doesn't know if her mom took her final breaths alone, isolated and in quarantine.
I felt complete helplessness.
The death count in Georgia rose, reaching more than 29,000 people 2 years later, and about 950,000 deaths across the United States. The Georgia Department of Public Health says of the deaths in the state, about 21% have been people between 60 to 69 years old, like Danville's mother. Those 80 and above account for about 31% of deaths from COVID-19.
I very quickly was learning that there were people around me who didn't take it seriously.
Because her mother was elderly and living in a nursing home, Danville said she often saw people discount her mother's death.
I feel like I have to defend her almost, and to really hit home with people how tragic it was that she died alone. And that part still makes me angry. I don't feel like I should have to do that because she was a human being and she was loved by so many people.
But Danville said with the years her mother lived came the years of positive influence she left on the world.
Her impact went so far back beyond before I was born, before my dad ever met her. When I talk to other people who have lost someone to COVID, I feel such deep empathy for them, and I almost preface those conversations saying, you don't have to tell me how old this person was. You don't have to talk about any of that. I just want to know about who they were.
Now, since the pandemic started, there are now several treatments, such as oral antivirals, that are effective against the Omicron variant. The treatments are for non-hospitalized patients with mild to moderate COVID-19. Now, many of you also submitted photos of your loved ones to us who you're remembering this anniversary. You can head over to CBS46.com to take a look at the gallery we've put together. Sean.
All right, thank you, Crystal.